Robbing money, craving, started shoebox saving, made some puzzle placements. I know what this life gon' come with, know that they gon' go and hate it when you make it.
Welcome back, Nationwide Sports Talk. I'm Matt Mackey, live from West Virginia. Wild and wonderful, y'all. March Madness has been madness. That's literally the name what's going on right now. From the first weekend to today, this Sweet 16 begins. Sweet 16 set, and then we'll figure out who the Elite Eight, then Final Four, and then the national champion will be. But before we recap the first weekend of March Madness, I got to introduce the man. Caleb, live from Morton. Say what's up.
What's going on, guys? Hope everyone had a great week. Like Mackie said, it has been madness within this month of March and within the college tournament. So we're here to break it down as best as we can because, like we say, what do we know? Every episode, what do we know? But we'll give you our thoughts and our opinions, and let's jump into it.
Recapping the first round of 64. Let's just say a lot went down on the very first day. The first game, obviously, of the day was Virginia Tech versus Florida. That was a phenomenal game. Florida was down by 15 at one point, came back in overtime and won by 5. That game was a good one to watch, Caleb. I don't know if you got to watch that one at all.
I didn't get to watch it. I was watching the box score as the game was going on in the game cast, and I'm glad Florida battled back. I do think that they were the better team. Virginia Tech just had those young legs, young, fresh legs coming out. I mean, like we said, they were out since February and played 3 or 4 games since February, and they just came out and they were ready to play. But Florida showed that they were the better team and came out on top.
And then obviously we're going to talk about this 15 seed Oral Roberts beating Ohio State in overtime, 75-72. And you and I were talking about it during the game, after the game, and we realized where the game was played, Mackey Fieldhouse. And then you looked up to see how Ohio State played at Mackey Fieldhouse in the Big Ten tournament and when they played Purdue there. And you found that they shoot awful, play awful there every single time.
Yeah, I'm sorry. If I would have done my research before, I would have picked Oral Roberts to pick this one because, excuse me, Ohio State really struggled, and they have struggled there. They struggled there all year, like you said. I went back and I looked and see how they shot against Purdue. If I'm not mistaken, they shot like 43% from 3 or from the field, and then like 30-some% from 3. Not what you want to shoot, especially playing on the road, like if you're playing against Purdue. And then if you're the 2 seed and you have a 15 seed coming in, a good 15 seed like Oral Roberts who can score the ball, they have one of the best scorers in the nation. So Ohio State, they really struggled, and Oral Roberts took their disadvantages to their advantage and came out with a big win, and they're still dancing too.
Yeah, Max Amos, the leading scorer in the nation, he dropped 29 points in that game, but he didn't do it alone. Kevin Obenar had 30 points himself. So when you have 2 guys, one have 30, one have 29, and right there 59 points, and the team only scores 75, you think that you adjust to lock down guys. But as I was watching that game, I was just thinking to myself, like, these mugs, they're just fast or quick. They just shoot. They don't care. They'll pull from anywhere. But then I was watching how Ohio State play, and Washington for Ohio State was just a disappointment in my eyes. Like, to make sure you weren't going to overtime. You take a contested 3 with 3 guys on you with still 4 seconds left. You don't do that.
No, and I even told you it was just a questionable shot. It's just like, what are you doing? Like, why? Yeah, it's one of those things that you don't do. I know that they're definitely kicking themselves because of that loss, but again, I mean, Oral Roberts was a good team, and like you said, when you have 2 guys who put up 59 points or you're 75, it's It's hard to beat them. It really is.
It really is. And then you look at when overtime hit, I was watching the game even more, and Ohio State had 3 chances to tie back up, like literally 3 back-to-back wide open threes, and don't. That's literally how it went. And the very last one, Washington had a amazing look for it, wide open, top of the line, squared up. Don't. I'm like, bro, you're supposed to be one of the best players on the team. You're supposed to prove that you're an NBA player, that you can clutch up in clutch time, but you shot 3 for 12 from 3, buddy.
You know, and it's now that I kind of look back at it, I've seen a lot of people talk about it, and I'm starting to really agree with it because we talked about all year long how in the regular season the Big 12 or Big 10 is so good. Big 10 is so good. Big 10 is so good. Every week we came on here, we're saying Big 10 is the best conference. Then it goes Big East, Big 12. Big 10's best conference. Then it goes Big East, Big 12. You know, even sometimes we throw the Big 12 up top before the Big East, but I'm almost certain we always had the Big 10 at the top along with everyone else. And I'm starting to think that like they just beat up on each other all year long.
Yeah.
You had the best teams in college basketball playing against each other night in and night out. Had some I think some of the best basketball games we've seen, especially during a pandemic. And then you take on the pandemic on top of that. I just think they beat up on each other all year long. And then once it came to tournament time, they were just like, we're tired. Like we can't do this. You have a team like Oral Roberts or I can't remember what North Texas, who are good young teams who can run the floor and haven't really played great teams up to Big Ten level throughout the year. They're a little bit more rested and they're not as beat up as these Big Ten teams coming into play. So I'm starting to think that they just were a little too tired coming into the Big Ten or coming into the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I
especially
agree.
with that Big Ten, especially with that Big Ten tournament too.
Yeah, that Big Ten conference was very good, obviously, because they had, I think, a total of 8 teams in the tournament, if you include Michigan State, who had a play-in game. So Michigan State, Michigan, Purdue, Iowa, Ohio State, Wisconsin, Illinois,
Rutgers.
Maryland, and Rutgers. So they had 9 teams in. And that's usually very unheard of.
Yeah.
And what happened? So let's just say after the first weekend, 1 team survived.
Yeah, I was gonna say there was only 1 team after the first weekend, which again, you can go back to having 9 teams in a conference. It's very unlikely to have a team like Illinois or just a high-seeded team lose so early in the tournament. And it's like I said before this tournament even tipped off, I think it's going to be complete chaos because it's only right. The first time back for the tournament, we took last year off. The first time back this year, it's only right that it's complete chaos within this tournament. So I think it's going to draw more attention to it as well. And I'm glad we get to see a couple teams that we haven't seen still dance in this tournament.
Couldn't agree more. But before we continue on anymore, we still got to talk about the other first-round games. Wisconsin played UNC. Everyone knew Roy Williams was 29-0 in the first round. Never lost. 30th try. That man got slaughtered. Wisconsin came out just shooting lights out and won that game by 23 points. And that's when you think, okay, maybe the Big Ten is pretty dominant because you saw what Wisconsin did to Hall of Fame coach Roy Williams, the dynasty program he's built, being 29-0 in the first round. Like, you're like, oh, it's like an uphill battle we got to fight here. Well, at halftime, we're up by 16. Oh, we got this shit in the bag. 40-24 at halftime. I ain't worried about shit anymore. You come out, and then you score 45 more points in the second half.
It's surprising to see a North Carolina team lose like this in the tournament. But again, it's only right, I feel like, within this year that Roy Williams gets his first loss within the first round when North Carolina gets knocked out. I mean, I can't remember the exact stat, but it's the first year we've had a tournament without North Carolina, Kansas, Duke, and Kentucky within the Sweet 16 in a long time. So again, I feel like it's just only right for this year.
Very true. Look, another upset that happened in round one. Oregon State defeats Tennessee, 12 seed over 5 seed. And I told y'all last week that this is a tournament that every 12 seed could win. Every single one could win. I mean, before we continue on, the Winthrop put up a good fight against Villanova, lost by 10. But right here, Oregon State over Tennessee, it happened by 14 points. And Oregon State just a shooting team. They just shoot. Again, in this game right here, they shot 47% from 3-point.
It feels like anytime they crossed half court, you had to step up on this Oregon State team because they're going to shoot the ball. Like you said, they shot 47%, and Tennessee shot, they shot well below 50%. Yeah, they shot 19% from 3. I mean, Oregon State was firing, man. I watched a little bit of this game, and I had to turn it off just because I had Tennessee winning this one, and I was a little upset that they were just playing so bad. It didn't seem like they were just playing their basketball that they had been playing all year. Defensively, again, they weren't stepping up and they weren't closing out on those shots, and it really hurt them. Again, shooting 47% from 3. This Oregon State team, I think, has been one of the most exciting teams to watch, just because they can shoot the ball so well. And again, once they cross half court, they're going to pull it. So you have to step up.
Yeah, and it was just amazing me, like, how we talked down the Pac-12. Like, we just talked down on them, and then you have Colorado blow out Georgetown. Oregon got the lucky one in this draw. Didn't have to play their first round game and won it because of COVID reasons for VCU. Oregon State comes out and wins. USC wins. UCLA wins. Like, the first round was undefeated for the Pac-12. Undefeated. Like,
well, and they have the most out of each conference, and they're still left in tournament.
Yeah, and we just talked down on them. We literally said, "Nah, they're not that good. This first conference, and that's inconsistent." And then you just look at it now. I'm like, damn, like, we literally everyone was wrong about this Pac-12 conference. Like, they're here to fight. And just think to myself, like, what the hell happened? And, like, that's literally what I've been thinking about. I was like, what the hell happened? And the key one here when I said that was when North Texas beat Purdue. I was like, what the hell happened? Like, North Texas, they weren't an amazing team throughout the year. They went 18, it went 17-9 before the tournament started, and they come out and beat a Purdue team by 9 points in overtime. I'm just like, how? And I'm noticing like these like lower level teams who like not Power 5 who are winning, they shoot that damn 3 ball like no other. No other. North Texas shot 43% against Purdue. I'm just like, they don't give a damn.
No, they will pull it from anywhere. And it's kind of crazy because I feel like this year, like, you have some teams who kind of relied on the 3 ball, but then you have some teams who kind of relied on their big man play. Like WVU relied on their big man play when Big O was here, and then Culver kind of relied on him a little bit, kind of fell off towards the end of the year. You had Illinois kind of rely on Coffee Cockburn. But then you look at these lower level teams like that aren't Power 5, and like you said, everyone on their team can just shoot the ball. Like, you give it to their big man, and you gotta step out on him too, because 9 times out of 10 he can shoot the ball. It's like at Power 5, they're just gonna practice. Most Power 5s, let's just practice big man play. You go to small schools, oh no, we're shooting here. That's all we know how to do. We're not taking it into the paint. We're too small for that.
Go ahead and get them cones ready. We'll do a cone drill real quick. And it just amazed. Like the day one for that tournament was just exciting. You saw upset. You saw upset. You saw a 15 seed win. You saw a 14 seed win, right? No, 13 seed was what North Texas was. You saw a 12 seed win. You saw 11 seed win, a 10 seed win. So you saw all that day one. So day two comes, like, all right, my bracket's already fucked, so I don't care about that anymore. Let's see some more upsets go down. And what happened Saturday? When everyone was talking, oh, Georgetown's hot. Georgetown's might win this one. Well, Colorado from the Pac-12 came out hot and put up 96 points on Georgetown and won by 23 points. Looking at the box score, team stats, what did Colorado do? Just kept shooting, shot 64% from three, was not missing.
Yeah. I'll be one of those people to say that I really thought Georgetown was going to be not the team to beat, but a team to look out for within this tournament. Being at a 12 seed, coming in as hot as they were, and then I talked about Colorado too. Like I had them as a sleeper in the Pac-12 tournament because I obviously thought they were going to be a good team, but man, they just steamrolled their way over Georgetown. And
oh yeah, there's like literally no looking back at all.
yeah, and I was gonna say it's not like they even thought twice about it. They didn't look back. Like they're just like, all right, what's next? Which is a great mentality to have, but again, I mean, Big East was so competitive and so good that I would think a Big East team like Georgetown, who really battled and fought all year long, and then, like I said, was really hot, and then leaving the Big East tournament was really hot going into the NCAA tournament, and not get steamrolled by a Pac-12 team who we've pretty much looked over all year. But I mean, it's good for Colorado, but man, my bracket, it's like you said, once after the first day, I was just like, you know what? I'm going for upsets. I want to see teams who I haven't seen win in a while win, or I'm just pulling for somebody. So yeah, it's crazy, man.
And the one upset I was looking forward to most was University of California, Santa Barbara, Creighton. I was like, all right, here we go. This is the upset I love and love to see. And what happened? Creighton came out and won by one. I was like, damn. They got one damn point. Damn point.
I think just them being a little – I think this is where them playing in that Big East conference comes out. Just being a little bit better, having a little bit more experience against better teams, and being able to fight down towards the end. I think that's where being in that conference helped Creighton. But they started off slow, and looking at it, I mean, they should have lost the game. They got outscored in the second half, and it's like we said, without what's his face there? McDermott. We didn't know how they would perform, and it's going to be shaky. It's going to be interesting to see what goes on there next year.
So that upset didn't happen for me, so it was very disappointing in my eyes. But then I was like, all right, we got some more games to look forward to today. I had betting on. Let's go with Ohio and Virginia. Ohio versus Virginia. Another upset that happened. Ohio won that game 62-58. In Ohio, they looked not as good as I thought they'd be looking. I'll be honest with you on that one. I thought Jalen Preston would be doing a lot more. But he did a lot. 11 points, 13 rebounds. They were talking about him might be the player of the tournament. But he is one of the two players who played a whole 40-minute game. Never came out.
Yeah, the kid's different. I mean,
he has a good story.
Yeah, his story and just the energy he brings to that team, I think is different. I mean, not only is like, I want to say he's the reason that they're getting like this Ohio team's getting so much coverage, but his story and what they've been able to accomplish. Like this Ohio team has been good, and they've been consistently getting better throughout the
Yeah.
years.
Well, that MAC conference, I'll be honest with you, like I pay attention to it a little bit, and that MAC conference, they always have 3 good teams. I remember
Mhm.
Buffalo was dominant.
I
Buffalo
mean,
was
they were pretty good this year. They were the top 25 team.
yeah, Buffalo was good. Ohio was always a good team. Akron was good. Like those 3 teams were like are always a top tier, like not like top tier like Power 5 teams, but like top like mid-level teams. Like
Mhm.
all right, you need to look out for these teams. If you play in the March Madness, you better watch out. Kind of feeling. And so I had a feeling with Ohio, like, all right, like they can at least get a round 1 upset. They can get that easy without a doubt. But then, like, I thought they'd come out looking better than what they did against a team who's strictly on defense. Like Virginia has no offense at all.
Yeah, but I mean, this Virginia team again, they've kind of with like I would say with every big program that has been, I would say big in like previous years, they've kind of struggled. Like Duke kind of struggled this year, North Carolina kind of struggled this year, Virginia kind of struggled this year. I mean, Virginia obviously had a good year because they were in the tournament, but
Come on, man, they're defending champions.
2 years in a row. But I mean, I don't know. I just think that Virginia, they weren't as good as they have been in previous years, and I've said that before. I've said that with each Virginia team, they always get better throughout the year. But I think this Ohio team had that chip on their shoulder and I think they wanted it more. And again, it's this is the year I think for all the upsets.
I mean, that's what you're saying there. But like, I always think back to like if you're a team going into a 12 versus 5 seed or like this Ohio versus Virginia seed, like as a higher seeded team, but you hear everyone say, "Oh, they're gonna get upset. They're gonna get upset." Do you think that puts a chip on your shoulder too?
Oh yeah, I mean, I would definitely have a chip on my shoulder if I'm thinking that everyone's going in and saying, "Oh, you're getting upset this game." But I think that just being the higher seed, I think is just a chip on their shoulder. And again, I think just being that smaller school for Ohio, like we're from the MAC. That we want this more. And this Virginia team, I mean, not everyone on this team, but there's a couple players who were on that championship squad. I think Hauser was on that squad. Yeah, Sam Hauser was on that squad, and a couple other players were on that squad from their championship team. So
I will say that run they had in 2019, they got lucky. I mean, yeah, they won
yeah,
all their games, but like I think that was a weak year for college basketball. I'll say that right now. I'm not saying just as a Duke fan because like Zion and them were in college, but looking at that year they won, I'm seeing myself like, y'all got lucky because if Duke would have won that game against Kansas, y'all about to get fucked up. Y'all about to get fucked up.
yeah,
Because if you notice, I mean, this is way off subject and that. When the spotlight is on Duke, they will literally destroy you, torch you, and just like put up points. But when no one's talking about them, they play like shit.
that's
But
true.
after they get a big win, the hype's back on. Bam, they're gonna start winning. Prime example: this past season when they played Virginia, they beat Virginia. Hype's back on Duke, and what they did, they won 5 straight. It happened. Once they lost, now the hype's gone. No one's talking about it anymore. Let's play down. That's
Yeah,
literally how Duke plays. And I've noticed that. And especially in 2019, that tournament, the hype wasn't really around them anymore going into the tournament. Like, I was like, all right, they got Duke, they can make it far. But then once they played Kansas, the spotlight was somewhat there in that, but not really. It was more focused on Virginia. So they didn't have that spotlight on them. Energy wasn't there. They lose by 3. Now, if they would have made that 3-pointer at the end, oh, Virginia was about to get fucked up. I'm sorry. Virginia was about to get fucked up because the spotlight's back on Duke. Bam, and they're about to get torched and lose by 15. I was calling it right then and there. But I'm not just saying as a Duke fan. I'm literally saying as a big sports fan. Like, that's how it works for any team, honestly. Like, if the spotlight is on you, you're going to shine. And I think that's why Ohio won. Spotlight's on the team. They won. Spotlight was on Oregon State and Tennessee. That game had a little bit of hype too because of 12 versus 5. Boom. A lot of people tuned into that game because of their bracket. Let's be real. That's why I watched it.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. Oregon State won. Looking back at the game that had upset. Oral Roberts at Ohio State. Halftime when Ohio State was up by 4. I wasn't watching the game first half. I'll be honest. I did not watch the first half at all. I was like, Ohio State should win this game easily, blah, blah, blah. Halftime, up by 4. My ass changed that channel quick and watch the rest of that game. So everyone can tune in and people know that. Like the players who are playing in the middle of the game, they know what's going on around the outside, even if they think they don't.
Right.
If they know they're in a dogfight and they're a lower seed team, they know, all right, bet I got millions of people watching me now, especially in the tournament time because scouts watch. Scouts try to find that one gem tournament. Damian Lillard was found in the tournament. Steph Curry was found in the tournament. They were all found in the tournament.
I think one of the players who I wouldn't say found in the tournament because he's been obviously one of the top scorers, but that Oral Roberts point guard, Abrams.
Mike Abrams?
Yeah, I wouldn't say like found in the tournament, but again, like last episode.
Technically, he kind of was found because, he was a leading scorer in the nation, but no one saw him play.
Yeah, I wouldn't say no one saw. Yeah, no one really saw him play, but like the only reason I'm not saying found in the tournament is because he's been the leading scorer like all year. So if you like pay close attention, like you knew about his name at least.
Shit, I didn't know. I'll be honest, I had no idea.
I knew of his name. I never like knew who he played for. Didn't know what team he was on. Never watched him play. But I think like again, like last episode, like you look at some teams that have made runs. This Oral Roberts team, like they have that guy, and he is that guy. So yeah, I think he's going to be the one this year that is out of the draft. Or,
the only thing I have on him, he's a good shooter, but he's 6'1".
He's small. He is small, but I don't know. I think there's a lot of small guys, though, that could play in the league. I think he could have a decent career in the league being a role player. But I think Jason Preston is going to have a great career ahead of him. But that's, obviously he hasn't been found in the tournament because he's been a story all year long since that Illinois game.
Couldn't agree more. Let's talk about more games. The last game we're talking about in round of 64 is the Abilene Christian over Texas. This one was a one that kind of pissed me off more than anything because I had a parlay going and then this is the last parlay I had, and I literally bet Texas money line. And it just pissed me the hell off. I'm like, Texas, you worthless bastards. You literally gonna cost me my parlay, and you can't beat Abolition Christian by just one. Just one, man. That's all I needed.
The crazy thing about this game is Texas was better pretty much all game. Like, they outscored them in the first half by 5, and then they get outscored by 6 in the second. It's not like terrible, but they shot better.
Yeah.
They shot better from 3. They shot better field goal percentage and from their free throws. So it's like, how do you lose this game? And I think they had less turnovers. No, they had a lot more turnovers. They had double turnovers.
I was about to say, I said, well, I'm looking at the box, the team stats right now in that game. When you have 23 turnovers, it's going to haunt you.
Yeah.
But like you said, like Texas was leading the whole entire game pretty much. Up by 5 at halftime, shooting better, 45%, 35% from 3. But the 23 turnovers, you ain't going to win a game. You have more than 20. You just don't.
Well, and that's the thing with this. Abilene Christian, I think they've really hardly ever turned over, like when it really mattered, never turned over the ball. Like I watched a little bit of it down the stretch. I think the past 2 minutes, they went on a little run, didn't turn the ball over once. And it's like that's where it's important. When it comes down to those last 2 minutes and you need to go on a little run or you need to close out the game and Texas gets the turnover or turns the ball over and then you're taking care of the ball. You're not turning the ball over. You're getting points or whatever the case may be, but Texas still keeps turning the ball over. That's key. And that's really where Abilene Christian won this one because, again, those 23 turnovers, you can't win a game with that.
All right. So let's talk through the round of 32 real quick. So the first game on Sunday was Loyola Chicago beating Illinois. This Loyola Chicago team is a fire team. I've been watching them all year long. I love watching them play. I'm glad to see them winning at the upset. My bracket wasn't, but I was. To be honest on that one. But hey, what do you want to say about this game?
Like I said before the episode, they have that 30-year-old man out there playing in the center. So I think they need to get him get an actual birth certificate on him. But no, I'm kidding. But like I told you before the episode, I've heard that like Loyola Chicago and KenPom, I looked at it maybe once or twice throughout this entire year of basketball, that they were ranked in the top 10 all year long on KenPom. Not the AP poll, it's not coaches poll, but on KenPom, which is what all coaches and like statistics analytics people use for their in-depth statistics and predictions on games. And I think just the same thing with what we talked about with Ohio State, that Big Ten just beat up on each other all year long. Loyola Chicago has been a good program. They've been building up. They have Sister Jean on their side, so I think that was a little bit of a help. But they're a good team. Yeah, 101 years old, which is insane. And, I want them to, I want Gonzaga to win because I want them to have that perfect year. But I want Loyola Chicago to also win it because I want Sister Jean to get a national championship. Like I want her to see a national championship.
Not just that. I don't care who wins now as long as it's somebody new.
That too.
I got my New Year's sports resolution.
Yeah. This Loyola Chicago team, man, they're good. And having two or three, I know Cameron Krutwig is one of them, one of the guys that are on that team from their Sweet 16 run, right? Their last Sweet 16.
Yeah, and then it's Lucas Williamson.
Yeah, so I mean, just having that veteranship and what they've been able to build there, it's been awesome to see. Do you think that they could pull off like a national championship here in the near future? I mean, this is like I would pretty much say back-to-back Sweet 16s with good upsets for them in consecutive years.
I mean, with that's kind of like I think a stretch. Honestly, just because their conference, their recruiting base, that kind of thing, because everyone wants to go to the top tier schools. And I'll be honest with you, I think here soon, I forget his name, Loyola Chicago's head coach might find a better job. I mean,
like at a Power 5.
Yeah, Indiana's open up still.
That's true, and I could see if he gets a Power 5 job, like I could see that team then being okay. Now this is a team that is going to give them 2 or 3 years, like give him a couple years to get guys in and out of that program, get a couple of recruiting classes in there. I think he could build a pretty good team like he has there with Loyola Chicago.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think, Porter Missouri, I think he might leave, honestly, because everyone's seeing what he could do. But, they interviewed him and asked him, like, pretty much, are you going to still be here next year because everything is open up? And I think all the eyes are on him now with the coaching carousel going on, honestly. Like, I think they're on him because of what he's done. He's given a Final Four run. He has 3 of the past 4 Missouri Valley titles. But I think his job, if he goes, will be Indiana.
That'd be a good spot. That's a basketball state, and
listen to this.
He
makes more than $1 million a year at Loyola Chicago.
That's crazy.
Not even like at Loyola Chicago, like small school that he makes over $1 million.
But I mean, if you're obviously we don't know all the coaches in the coaching carousel, but if you just look at what this team's done, wouldn't you think that he would be number one for whatever coaching position, unless you have like an obvious Roy Williams who leaves North Carolina and doesn't retire, or a Coach K who leaves Duke and doesn't retire. But I
So
think
wouldn't the
if you
question be-
overlook him, yeah, other than any other coach, like I just think you're kind of putting your program up for failure if you're not looking at him number one.
the thing that questioned me more with this whole coach carousel, let's just talk about what happened yesterday. Shaka Smart left Texas to go to Marquette. Why? Why? Why leave the Big 12 to go to the Big East? I mean, I get that they're a good conference, but like, why?
Well, I mean, it's not only that, but you're leaving
Just a
Marquette
three
has
seed.
well, I mean, Marquette has been a good team in previous years because you had Dwayne Wade and you've obviously had other teams like when WVU was in the Big East, Marquette was a really good team. But Marquette is not what they used to be.
No.
I think Shaka could build a good because he's a good coach. I'll give him that. But you're not going to get much better than what you had at Texas. I mean, Texas's name is going to draw in the recruits more than anything else, and their facilities. I mean, at Texas, you're going to have probably some of the best facilities within anywhere, whether it's football, baseball, basketball. I mean, Texas just brings in a lot of money. So, yeah, it's very questionable. You're not going to get much better at Marquette than you are at Texas.
Let's talk more about these games. Syracuse beats WVU 75-72. Thoughts on this game?
Buddy Boeheim, as much as I hate him, man,
Oh, I hate that dude.
I
right
love
now.
him. As much as I hate him, I love him. I saw a little video of him and Carmelo, like when he was probably like 3 or 4, running around with Carmelo when Carmelo played for Syracuse. Kind of made me hate him a lot less because I like Carmelo Anthony a lot, but this one still stings because I had very high hopes for his team this year. I did not expect one white boy by the name of Buddy Boeheim, who is a coach's son, to put up 25 points and drain 2 threes from almost half court on us. But, I mean, as a WVU fan, man, I kind of expect it. So I just kind of live and learn with it now. It is
Yeah, I
what
gotta
it
live and
is.
learn to never bet anything that involves WVU in it. I bet the over that game, 147.5. So let's just say Syracuse misses 2 out of the last two out of the last 3 free throws, and Buddy Boeheim missed the one that would have secured me the over bet. So you're an 88% shooter, buddy, and you missed a free throw to guarantee you a win. Fuck you.
Oh, so you don't even hate him because he beat WVU. You hate him
No.
for that.
Yeah, I hate him for that only.
Okay.
That's the only reason why I
Okay.
hate him.
I hate him because he beat WVU.
I mean, I expected W had hype around them all year. Every time they have hype around them, they fucking lose, bro. They lose every single time they have hype.
Yeah, I mean, I just looked at our schedule, or not our schedule. I just looked at our roster and like what we have done, who we were going up against. I mean, obviously Syracuse, a great program because of what Jim Boeheim has built there. But it's bitter, man. It's hurtful because we should not let Buddy Boeheim be the sole purpose we lose when we literally can beat. I think, like I've said all year long, we can beat any team as long as they play good. They didn't really play good this game. They didn't. I mean, number one, they didn't step out.
No.
Buddy Boeheim literally just stroked the ball from 3, and they would just be like, "Oh, there it is again. That's another Buddy 3. Oh, that's another Buddy 3. Hey guys, you want to step out?" No, I
And the
don't want to
crazy thing
guard
is,
him.
like, Buddy was not hot at all in the first half. Like, he was not doing
No, I think he made like what 1 or 2 threes in the first
anything.
half.
He had 4 points in the first half.
So yeah, it's. I mean,
All
it's
right.
great to see that whenever the pressure comes, Boeheim can knock it down, but I hate him.
Oral Roberts beats Florida 15/7 seed, 81-78. And then we have Oregon State beat Oklahoma State 12-4, 80-70. honestly, that Oral Roberts win, it just makes it more for a historical run for him.
Yeah, I think that was kind of Florida was again they struggled with Virginia Tech, so I think this was I wouldn't say an easy game for them, but I think if you can beat a really good Ohio State team and outplay them, I think you can beat a not so great Florida team who struggled their first game.
And then you have Oregon State beating Oklahoma State. Cade Cunningham with 24 points in that one, but Ethan Thompson for Oregon State outscored with 26 points. And like again, Oregon State, they just gonna keep shooting.
This was the most surprising to me. I thought Cade Cunningham would lead this Oklahoma State team to at least a Sweet 16 or an Elite Eight, but Oregon State, I mean, again, they as soon as they cross half court, you have to step out on them or they are going to fire that thing. And I would say about 7 times out of 10, they're making it. So,
and let's just go with this too. They got out rebounded bad. Oregon State had 52 rebounds. Oklahoma State had 32.
I mean, what's Bill Walton know that we don't? The man had 5. Listen to this. The man had 5 teams, Pac-12 teams, in his Final Four.
How do you have 5?
Yeah, I don't know, but Bill Walton did. Okay, so what does he know that we don't? Because, I mean, like you said, we took the Pac-12 so lightly, and then here they are having the most teams left in the tournament and beating some of the best teams, I think, in the tournament. So, what's he know that we don't?
Exactly. Then let's go end the weekend off on Monday for the round of 32. Oregon beats Iowa 95-80. What a phenomenal win for the Pac-12, you could say.
Yeah, this was heartbreaking for me to see Luke Garza go out like this, 36 points, 9 rebounds, and he went out with tears. Not how he expected his career to end at Iowa. But I think one of the biggest things is, we've talked about this Iowa team, and if they can't get that consistent, dominant guard play, then they're kind of screwed. And I mean, looking at their box score, it was really just all Luke Garza. He had 36 points, and then Joe Wieskamp had 17. But McCaffrey had 0, Frederick had 0, and Bohannon had 0. When 3 of your guards have 0 points, they're not contributing. You're not going to do anything against a good Iowa team good Oregon team who can shoot the ball.
And honestly, that game was fair across all the other categories. Like turnovers, even 11 and 12. Rebounds, both had 34. Steals, both had 7. Like it was an even match with just the fact that Luke Garza can't do it by himself. That's literally what it is. And you can just tell by his emotion after the game. Like, he was tired. That meant he was wore out. And him losing his final game, the work he just put in that game with 36 points. Like, he was just so tired and just drained. And he's like, pretty much, what else could I do?
And there was nothing else he could have done.
Exactly.
I mean, like you said, putting his all for this team. Just look at this. I mean, Oregon's 3 starting guards had 23, 21, and 19. Again, Iowa's 3 starting guards had 0, all of them. So it's like Garza he can't be a one-man show. I mean, I understand he pretty much piggybacked y'all through the Big Ten and through this year and last year. I mean, McCaffrey and Bohannon, they had their breakout games here and there, but let's be honest. Like, when you think of Iowa basketball, you're thinking Luka Garza and what he does for this team. So he can't piggyback you through the tournament. I mean, at some point, we got to help the man. I think this is what – I think even though he lost this game, I think this 36 points in 36 minutes, which is insane, I think that's what gets him the Wooden Award. like he obviously performed phenomenally all year and has been the best player or one of the best players all year long. But I think this performance is what gets him that win award.
All right. And then let's go talk about Abilene Christian. Their run ended very short after that first round win over Texas. They come against UCLA and lose by 20. And another run that ended short was for Kansas, who played USC and lost by 34.
They really didn't have an answer for Evan Mobley. He really, I mean, he had 10 points, but he pretty much out rebounded their whole team. He had 13 rebounds, and again, this USC team is the Pac-12, which I should say is a lot better than we expected. It's surprising to see McCormick with only 5 points in a big time game like this. Like usually McCormick is when the spotlight is on him, you know, he performs, and didn't happen this game. Evan Mobley kind of shut that down.
Yes, 100%. 100%. All right. Today, Sweet 16 begins. Out of the 4 games, you see Oregon State, Louis Chicago, Villanova versus Baylor, Oral Roberts versus Arkansas, Syracuse versus Houston. Do you think Oral Roberts' run will come to an end?
You know, as I'm gonna say this because I like Eric Musselman. I think yes. You have to refresh my memory. Was Arkansas were they a good team before Eric Musselman got there?
I don't think
Previous
so.
years, like probably like a middle of the pack SEC team.
Yeah.
What they've done this year and what Eric Musselman has been able to do with this team, is phenomenal. He's obviously had
all year. I've been riding Arkansas all year.
You have, and I should have hopped on that train with you a lot earlier. Like I was with you whenever they were 9-0 and weren't ranked, but this team, I mean, seeing the joy on his face after they won their last game and got Arkansas to their first Sweet 16 in years, and then he gets to hit to Sweet 16 first year with this program. I'm riding this Arkansas team. I'm taking them to the Final Four. I'm gonna just keep riding them.
That's where I have them.
I mean, they're good. They're a really good team, and they can shoot the ball. So I'm gonna ride them. I'm keeping with them, and I think this is gonna be the game where Oral Roberts kind of is just outmatched. I would say, I would say they're gonna be outplayed, and they'll be Arkansas will be the better team.
You think Baylor's beating Villanova?
Yeah, I think so. Villanova kind of struggled their last time out. Baylor has been one of the best teams all year long, and I don't think that slows up for them.
And Louis Chicago beating Oregon State.
This is a tough one because, again, I want to see Loyola Chicago win this, but Oregon State they're a deadly team, and the way they shoot the ball. So I'm 50-50 on it, but I'm going to pull for Loyola Chicago. Again, I want them to win this thing, so I'm pulling for them.
Then Houston versus Syracuse.
I don't know on this one. All I'm going to say is take the over because both teams can score the shit out of the ball.
I say it's going to be a tight game. You bet plus 6.5.
Yeah. I want to take Houston. I think they're the better team in this one. That's probably going to come back to bite me in the ass because Syracuse will probably come back and win this one. But I think Houston's a better team.
All right, looking at Sunday's matchup, Creighton versus Gonzaga, Florida State versus Michigan, UCLA versus Alabama in a battle of the Pac-12, Oregon versus USC. Out of those games, I think Alabama barely survives UCLA. I think Florida State can get the upset against Michigan. And I think Gonzaga is just going to destroy Creighton. It's going to be within by 12. I think USC and Oregon, that's going to be a very tight game because both times they pushed play, they got canceled almost. They played 2 times still in the regular season. But I like USC because of Evan Mobley.
All right. You said you have Alabama, but close.
Yep.
I kind of like that. So I'll go down. I'm gonna take Gonzaga. I like yours, probably within 12 to 15. I think this Gonzaga team is just a lot better than this Creighton team. With McDermott out, my coach, I think that's going to be a big help for Gonzaga. I'm taking Florida State in this one. I'm riding with Florida State. I don't know why, but I'm pulling for them. I think this is going to be a good game. I'm taking Alabama. I want to say by 10 plus. Just the way they shoot the ball, the way they can shoot the three and knock them down. I think that towards the end, they're just going to be able to pull away. And Alabama, again, like I texted you with their round of 32 matchup, they can just go on those small little runs, and it's within the snap of a finger. They'll go on a 6-0 run, or they'll go on a 9-0 run, and it's just because they can hit those threes so consistently and so good. And then for this last one, I'm going with USC as well. I think Evan Mobley is going to be an impact player in this one. And I think Oregon has I think they've kind of gotten a little lucky. Again, with their first game, they had that COVID issues with VCU. And then their second game, I think they got a little lucky in that one. I think USC is the better team. They've played, I think, a harder schedule with playing Kansas too. So I think they're more prepared.
And that's why I think USC as well. So, Caleb, before we wrap this episode up, because it's been almost over an hour, don't have our viewers sitting there just wondering when we're going to end. So we got to wrap it up after this. With the teams remaining, what's your final four?
I am going to take Alabama, Gonzaga, and Baylor, and one second. I got to see if Arkansas plays.
Arkansas plays Baylor.
They would play Baylor? Okay, so I would take – give me a little Chicago.
Mine would be Gonzaga, Low Chicago. Give me Arkansas. And it's just hard for me in that East region because I have Florida State and Alabama right there in the Elite Eight face each other. And I think that can go either or.
Mm-hmm.
I like Alabama. I also like Florida State, but I'm not trying to have the same Final Four as you, so I'll go Florida State.
Yeah, me personally, I just love the way this Alabama team can shoot.
I like how Florida State, they can get hot whenever they want to. And I think them playing Michigan is going to prepare them for Alabama because I think Michigan and Alabama play similar. Florida State is a very unique program. They don't play like UCLA, so Alabama's not going to know what's going to hit them with Florida State, especially Florida State, who all they got. But with Michigan, I think Florida State's longer. Looking at the, BPI, everyone's saying Michigan kind of. I just like how Florida State's more of a balanced team. And they share the ball well. They play good defense. And, they came from the ACC, but they also score a lot of points. And they also they play phenomenal defense because you look at their team stats overall average. They put up 78 points a game. They don't allow 53.5. And that's playing the ACC. That's what I'm trying to say. They play in the ACC, but that ACC is a shooting team. Right. Syracuse, Duke, UNC, Georgia Tech. So I like Florida State against Michigan. I like Florida State over Alabama. So my final four: Gonzaga, Florida State, Arkansas, and Low Chicago.
Alrighty.
All right, Caleb, say peace, love, and goodbye.
Well, guys, that is the end of this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed. We will see you guys next week that would be the end. Or no, we'll give you guys the national championship because it will be next Saturday. So we will see you guys next week, and we'll give you our predictions for the national championship next week, and see you then.
Hey, national championship next week?
It would be next Saturday because Final Four is Monday and Tuesday.
Really?
Or Elite Eight's Monday and Tuesday. Sorry, I'm way ahead of myself. And then yeah, scratch what I just said. We'll see you guys for the Final Four next Saturday, not the national championship. Way ahead of myself.
I was about to say, like, what?
Yeah, no,
Already?
I was way ahead of myself because I looked and I was like, wait, why? Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. But Monday and Tuesday is the Elite Eight.
I'm Mackie. Peace out for the week. Watch college basketball, play some bets, win some money. Like, subscribe, share, get us some more views on YouTube. Last video we had 2, and that was me and Caleb. So I appreciate it, guys. Let's just go ahead and say that. Put us out there. Let us be known. We have a good time doing this. We know what we're talking about. We have fun doing what we're talking about. Watch college basketball and get ready for next week because we're going to break down that Final Four. I'm Mackie. Peace out for the week. Have a good one. Peace.
Cause lately I ain't been the same, feel like I'm stuck in a maze. And I'm just trying to get out, I'm trying to better these things. But you just all on my thoughts and I just can't separate.